I would like to thank Apex Zeno for sending me this story that is coming out of Pennsylvania. And this woman's name, and let me first off start by saying this woman has the nose of Doug. Y'all remember that show Doug back in the 90s for all my people who grew up in the 90s? Remember that show Doug? Her nose looks just like that. But anyway, this woman's name is Samantha Whitney Jones, and she is 30 years old allegedly because she don't look it. And she has basically been charged with the death of her child because there were drugs found inside of her breast milk, meaning this woman most likely was using or ingesting illegal substances while nursing. Now, this reminds me of a story I did on my original channel. I think it was either last year or maybe the year before last, where you had this woman out in the Midwest whose child ended up getting some kind of seizure or something like that, because while she was breastfeeding her child, she was also doing hard drugs, and I believe it was heroin or something to that effect. But it caused the baby to have some kind of side effects. I don't think the child died, but the child almost died, and they ended up hitting her with charges. So this story pretty much is reminiscent of that. I'm going to just go ahead and read this article that's coming from Reuters. It says a Pennsylvania woman was charged with criminal homicide for the death of her 11-week-old son after an autopsy showed the baby had died because of drugs in the mother's breast milk. Samantha Jones had been prescribed methadone to help her overcome her addiction to painkillers and took it during pregnancy and after giving birth, according to a statement from the Bucks County District Attorney's Office dated July 13th. An autopsy found the baby died April 2nd from a combination of methadone, amphetamine, and methamphetamine transmitted through Jones' breast milk. Jones attorney Louis Basico said the baby's death was not intentional. Basico was not immediately available for further comment at his law office in Newtown, Pennsylvania on Monday. Jones is the latest in a series of U.S. mothers charged with the deaths of their infant children after they breastfed them, having previously taken methamphetamine, a stimulant used by more than 12 million people in the United States, according to the government-run National Institute on Drug Abuse. Use of methamphetamine during pregnancy can lead to an increased rate of premature delivery for the child, as well as heart and brain abnormalities, among other problems, the Institute said on its website. Jones says she had been primarily breastfeeding the baby but had switched to formula 3 days earlier, saying the infant was not getting enough milk from breastfeeding. I wonder why. Jones told police that after her husband left for work, she fed the baby the formula, placed him in a bassinet at about 6:30 and fell asleep. She awakened an hour later to find the infant pale, with bloody mucus coming from its nose. Jones began CPR at the instruction of a 911 dispatcher. The child was taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead. Bail was set at $3 million cash, and a preliminary hearing is scheduled for August 29th, according to the district attorney's office. Well, I think it's safe to say that this chick should be locked up for a while, but then again, Casey Anthony walked free from killing her child, so you just never know. First off, let me just say I feel nothing. I haven't said that in a while. I read it a lot in the comments, and I do miss saying it often, especially when it comes to stories such as these. This woman is very irresponsible, and notice what the article said, that this is it's a string of this occurring. Now, white people out here screaming about white genocide this, white genocide that. It's not black people that are causing your genocide. It's people like her that's causing the genocide. And might I add that this was her son that died, meaning he could have gave more life had he became older. She took life away from life that she just gave birth to, and took away, I guess, a future generation. For some of us, that's a blessing. For them, it's a nightmare. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you can, donate to my PayPal or become a patron on Patreon. The links are down below. I'll talk to you in the next one.